Hey, what up, guys? Thank you, Soily. Hello, Renell. Rat. How long did it take? Honestly, I don't even keep track of it anymore. But I did one Pomodoro, so one set of Pomodoro was like an hour 20, I think, for the outlines and the inks, the penciling. Penciling was pretty quick. I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, okay. That one was probably like under an hour. So 1 hour, so we got 2 hours, 20 minutes. Then, but who gives a damn? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's when we think in terms of how long it took, it's like we're getting away from the actual enjoyment of this, right? To create, it can take 1 day, 1 hour, 1 second, 1 year, 100 years, but it's irrelevant because you're supposed to be in it. You're supposed to be in the process of it, enjoying it, creating, and constantly moving. So I could calculate and add it up for you, but really, it just doesn't matter. And it's important to start to awaken from that mindset because that's the mindset that holds back a lot of artists. Because we say, "How long this take? Oh my God!" If you're trying to create, if it takes you all day, I don't give a damn. It better be good, right? And you better be satisfied, right? So the mindset shift needs to occur, and really create your art however long it takes. Thank you, Ronald. followers, more views. Thank you. Never give up. Oh, show. Squid Game. Yeah, Squid Game creator. Right. He spent like I don't know how many years of his life working on Squid Games, and he finally caught a break when he was like in his mid to late 30s. So my break hopefully will be soon. But really, is it a break or is it just people seeing something that was hidden from them on purpose? You know, nothing happens randomly, even if it may appear that way. Everything happens in perfect timing. And when you learn to trust that everything comes at its perfect time and its perfect purpose, it's like you stop counting the days, you stop counting the time, and you stop suffering. Because all that waiting and trying to make it and all that, it's just unfulfilled desire. You're not going to get it. It's not up to you. It's up to whoever's in control. God, of course, I'm going to say God is ultimately in control. But if it's a rigged system, it's a part of whoever's in charge of that rigged system. The whole point is to ignore that because a lot of the traps that have been set for us fantasy. So we start to think about the future, we start to worry, and we end up wasting our days. So just keep creating and enjoy, and you've already made it. You've really already made it. As much of a cope as that may sound like to a lot of materialistic people, these people are nothing without their diamonds and their grills. They're nothing, right? Once that stuff is gone, all those shiny objects, really shiny rocks, shiny pebbles are gone. You see that they were trying to cover this little tiny person the whole time, and it's because they never worked on that person. They only look outwards and start to obsess with consumerism. And anything they created was created in the name of consumerism, not in the name of making something precious and true, or something real, something dope, right? It's all about pleasing. And you're no different than a politician at that point. There's a lot of truth waiting for you to access it. If you just start opening up yourself to creating your story, your art, whatever it is, you'll be surprised what you learn about the world you live in through a simple comic book that you're working on. You gotta just practice your line work and practice being loose, and just spend a lot of time drawing things you want. Draw things around you, draw things that you want to create, study, the fundamentals, and you know what, dude? You'll see that once you get to the top of the mountain, there's an even higher mountain to climb. So just keep going. Don't stop. Just start climbing. It's the easiest thing in the world, even though it may look amazing and unbelievable. Like, how do you do this? It's so easy that it's really hard to believe. But all it is a placement of line. Line. If you could do this line right here, you can do all of this. When you start to learn the power of line and how thick and thin and how these different things create different effects, right? Different perceptions, different sense of dimensionality, all from line. And you start to appreciate that and you start to get curious, you'll be on your way. But you just got to be willing to be curious and take a step towards it. And I think as you go, you start to kind of develop an instinct for when something feels right, good, and you just learn to kind of trust that instinct more and more as you go in your journey of creating your art, your comic, whatever you're working on. And it just becomes something really second nature for you. It doesn't mean that you've mastered it. Actually, there's no such thing as mastering, because mastering implies an end, when really it's just another new beginning on a higher level. And when you keep that kind of attitude, you have that sense, you realize no one is really truly a master, right? And that everybody is growing, everybody's learning, and that you can also partake in that. You stop comparing, you start to see that everybody's on their own personal journey towards this ideal of becoming a master, which is impossible to reach. It should be really, really, really good. That'll be undeniable. That's possible. You'll be really, really good, and they'll think you're a master. That's another level. All right. So, but it's all a big lie. You can't find your confidence, your fulfillment, your identity in those things, right? A lot of the times, especially if you guys are in school, the whole goal is to get you guys to form a cohesive identity, give you guys some kind of confidence, something, to have the uh, opportunities that come your way not slip you by, or to make you more capable. But whatever you feel confident in, there's always going to be someone who's just on another level. And you have that mindset, you realize, okay, we're all growing, we're all learning, and you're really not that far away from your favorite artist in terms of skill. You'd be surprised if you just gave it more attention, more curiosity, more love. surprise yourself. So it's like really important to not get big headed. Um, just in general, but especially in art. Like I was saying, you don't want to have this I'm better or holier than thou attitude when you're creating art because all that shit is ego. And when you have a lot of ego, it actually becomes something an illusion, right? And we're not trying to live in any more illusions. We don't want to live in a lie. We want to have peace. We want to have liberation, the ability to create the world we see, right? And the world we want to see. But that means you have to be willing to let go of this identity game. It's a tool, but it's not meant for you to take shelter under. When you guys are creating and you guys are comparing yourself at your level and their level, you're playing the identity game. You think that you can get to a level of safety, but the piece is there for you right now, wherever level you're at in terms of your skill. It's just a matter of having right perspective, being curious and excited. It's not about reaching this level or this level or this level. It's about creating what you want to create at a in a unique, authentic way that captures the skill at your level. And if you want to get higher at your skill, it's just a matter of practice and study, putting in that time, doing more pages, getting your page count up. So there's no room for giving up, one, for comparisons, two, and for moping around and crying that you can't create this story that you see in your head that you really want to share with people. It's just a matter of acceptance, perspective, and dedication. Be willing to put in time, and you can have anything you want. Yes, sir. Ego is a weakness. Thank you, Face the Music. Thank you, Sam, by the way. man. Appreciate you, bro. The reason ego is such a weakness in art is because one, you're not able to create something real. You're not able to create something authentic, which means simply that what you're creating is coming from some kind of people pleasing or self pleasing, right? And then not in the sense of, you creating something that you've naturally drawn towards, more like you trying to control and impose what you are drawn towards, um, based off of, these fleeting desires. Another reason it's a weakness is because you get caught up in identity games and you start comparing. You start to compare how high up of the mountain you are to the next person and how low those people are compared to where you are. And at that whole thing, it's like, dude, you're such a small fish and you think you're huge. You have no clue. You have no clue. And so it's important to be humble. It's important to lower the ego. Now, you use it what you can as a tool, as a defense, right, against people who will try to convince you otherwise, right? People trying to sway you to their cause. Like, that's why when you see people, we're actually supposed to be individuals, but because of survival, we become tribal, we become collectivistic, and you end up losing yourself in a mob identity. So, in terms of art, you find that people will start to create art en masse that looks like a very popular manga that's been out, right? Or a popular comic book or whatever, right? And you'll find, like, damn, this fool literally just copied this guy's style. Where's his style? Where's her style? The reason there's a plethora of that is because most people are indeed creating art from a place of ego, and they don't even know it. So it might be something which is like a drug for some people. They get so into it, but you lose yourself and you start to impose on your art rather than letting it come out naturally, letting who you authentically are come out through your art, right? And what you're trying to convey, right? So much of art is judgment when really it's supposed to be creation. So always keep drawing, inking, and don't apologize for it. Don't feel ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Or don't get too big headed either. You know how many people I see on here, bro, where they're drawing some fan art and they're at a high level, right, of skill. They can do very amazing paintings and so forth. But all they're doing is pictures of Naruto, One Piece, and Demon Slayer, right? And JJK. Like, every single thing is popular, and then they've turned it to their whole career, and they're making money from this. It's like, bro, that's so lame, and they have no shame about it. It's like, damn, y'all, you don't want to even try to create something. Well, there's no money in that. Okay, exposed. So you really gotta have an attitude of just like, screw screw the money, screw the status, screw everything. Just create. Share what you think is important to share. And it's authentic. Have you seen Gachikakura? I haven't. I saw some of the art. I haven't watched the anime. Um, it's all right. I saw it. I think the art design is really interesting. I do feel like it's a little too loud. Like it constantly. It's like look at me, look at me, look at me type design. But for the story, I hear like it fits. So the style and the story complement really well. But I just couldn't get into it too much. Like I think I like to see art that looks really human. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't have this sort of ultra stylized, just salivating from the fucking corporations. Like, oh yeah, this is it. They're salivating for it, bro. And it's because they know they could sell this thing. They can really sell this thing. And this is how they think. And when I see art that's extremely ultra stylized, but really commercial, it just kind of, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it takes away from it. The designs, they're pretty cool. They kind of remind me of this, like, cross between Dorora, but with Soul Eater. Dorora, I think it's called, this, like, alligator face main character, some anime. Uh, but I did not watch it. What up, Juju? Uh, it feels extremely decorative, like over the top. That's what I picked up on. Where, like, some people like that. They like a lot of accessories and belts and buckles and shit on the design. But I feel like it was a little excessive. It has it's ultra stylized, but a little excessive. just like the concept. This is from my story Demon Nation, and it's sort of like Men in Black but without the aliens. And you have the whole fairy tale book thrown in there. Um, it takes place in this fantasy dystopian world where cloud agents in black who have to keep humanity asleep from waking up to the truly magical world that they live in. And the main character, here we're seeing his backstory, and we're seeing how he's essentially convinced that he's a monster because he's seen a hologram of what would happen if he went to the new world. And basically, he has to control his power to even be able to be let into the new world, where he can see where his foster brother, I guess you would say, the person who took him in, his guardian, Keen, uh, he's from. You can see that place, and that's where part one of the story is going to take place in this place called the New World. So, but this is before that, so we're seeing a little bit of that. He's struggling to believe that he's not this monster because what when he was found in a ghost town where there was all these skeletons of the people living there and these giant sites impaling these skeletons, and he was the only one around that was alive, starving, and he attacks him in the scene, and he essentially is going to defeat him, but he realizes it's just a little boy, and that this little boy has no memories of what happened or even who he is, and so he takes him in instead of taking his power from him and basically killing him, and he's taking him back to the new world, which will take about 2 years to travel from where they're at in the old world. The reason I don't put the dialogue in is because I'm gonna just deal with that later. Lettering takes a while, so I'm just gonna figure out the dialogue, everything in the computer. Because a lot of these pages, it's a frustrating thing because I'll write a script, I'll spend hours writing a script, only to find that it changes by the time I get to the storyboarding. And then by the time I get to the pages, it's changed again. And this time, it's like I don't even know what they're saying. I just have an idea, right? So I guess because I've been doing it for a while and I've been just refining my process for so many years, I kind of feel like and if I'm okay to not know a lot of things, and I can figure it out. Like I trust I'll figure it out. So the dialogue here has to be talking about how it's going to take about 2 years to cross the old world back to the new world, and essentially Keen telling him that, offering him to learn how to master his power, basically to control his power. And at this final panel, we see him being determined, where he's like ready to take on that challenge and learn how to master it, so he doesn't harm anybody. Because he just got done through witnessing a hologram version of the new world being destroyed, just because he was around it, walking inside of it, right? And he saw like all the people basically being turned to to corpses and to bones and to dust, and he sees like this black hole fucking taking in the whole city and the whole new world eventually with it. So he sees the level of destruction that can potentially happen, and he doesn't want that to happen. So I thought it was important to show him that, to make it clear that he really is a threat, that he sees himself as a monster in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, that's what's holding him back. And how someone who's so obviously a monster, right? That how basically the title being demonation, you demonize a person or a group and basically label them a monster, how that in itself is just a tool, that it's not real, and that the only real monsters are the ones that essentially want to control and destroy and manipulate people and their freedom and individuality. So it kind of gets into all that stuff. It's once again, you got humans, fairy tales. Humans can't see fairy tales, and there's a great disclosure event that's going to happen, and essentially how you control the disclosure, how you control the truth. You can turn those fairy tales into monsters or into neighbors, right? However, they're going to perceive them as.
say. Oh gosh, I get so excited, I can hardly think. I get a mouthful of soda, but they taste good to me. As long as my sweetie's by my side, doing the dishes with me. They like no right to like, but I'm telling you, I get love in near the oven when there's dishes to do. We do things that we hadn't oughta. We hold hands underneath the water, washing dishes with my sweetie at the kitchen sink. I need dishes, I need dishes, though I'm never blue. I'm not fretting, I get petting when there's dishes to do. Knives and forks and spoons never hinder, pots and pans go out of the window. Washing dishes with my sweetie at the kitchen sink. Washing dishes with my sweetie at the kitchen sink. Awesome. Thank you for that request. Because you know what? I gained 100 people.
what's up, Uni? What's up, man? I'm going to scan this one in and add the dialogue and turn in the unofficial upload. I have been neglecting. My bad, y'all. I wanted to at least get this one in, so it'll finish the scene that I was working on, and then the next scene